Hello everyone, Marianne from Revealing Light Tarot. How are we all today? Wherever you are in the world when you're watching, a huge shout out to you. I've had a lot of requests to read on the passing of very draconian, I think probably some unconstitutional laws there around voting laws, voting rights, what the proof that people will need to bring forward when they do vote. We've all been focusing on not being able to bring water to people standing in line, but ballot boxes have been reduced. The actual certification of the votes lies with the Republican Party now, who can overturn county officials. It is a disaster. It really is. Now, I want to say also that in my last reading on the full moon in Libra, I touched on a couple of things around. No, actually, it was in a reading before that. I got the death card. I did touch on the voting laws in that reading because it was all about justice. It was all about bringing back balance. And that now we had work to do, but the wind was at our backs because the revelations were so transparent. We could see the truth so clearly. Now, a previous reading before that, I think it was on Patreon, I looked at the Republican Party. I got the death card twice. Now, I wondered, what the hell is this about? The Republican Party, as you knew it, is dead. It's gone. In its place is this neo-Nazi movement, fascist type of extreme movement. That is what the Republican Party is now. And unless that is accepted as the truth, then, their quest for power and to take power, to seize power, will go unchecked. That is so the Republican Party of old is no longer there. So, the Georgia voting laws. A blatant power grab. I know that they're being challenged by various voter rights groups. I've heard commentators, historians say the demographics are changing. They can only do this for so long. So, this is the US Pluto return. It didn't just end on November the 3rd or January the 20th. The inauguration. It didn't, it wasn't just over on those dates. It is we're in this shadow of the Pluto return where it's very important that action is taken, and decisive action as well. There's a lot of work for the Biden administration to do, and it is like climbing a mountain. So, interesting. I know that Lachlan Murdoch has come out and said that the Fox News or Fox will be a forceful opposition to the Biden administration. There are now calls for Fox News to be reclassified as not a news network but as a political party. I think that makes wonderful sense. I wonder if that's going to happen. You see the amount of work, legislative work, with such a small minority in the Senate that needs to be done by the Biden administration over the next few years. So let's take a look at Georgia. Will these laws, will these unfair, draconian, perhaps unconstitutional laws in Georgia be overturned? Now we've got the Lovers here. So in Georgia, the former guy is there. Either his legacy or he's currently working behind the scenes. That is the signifier card. Now let's see what is challenging at the Two of Wands. a plan that comes to fruition in time. Now, this has been around my head. Unless he's brought to justice, he will be a clear and present danger. Now, and those that are made in his likeness are a clear and present danger to democracy and to not moving down and becoming a fascist state. Time is the challenge here. Time is the challenge to this move. Time is his challenge as well. So Georgia has looked at what happened on November the 3rd, and in every instance it's taken it as a template, and this is a power grab. But will it be overturned? We have the Knight of Wands. We've got leadership. You know, this is again taking up the staff, taking up the baton, and moving forward and showing that leadership, the King of Wands, in order to overturn this. So this can be lawmakers, legislators. Let's see what else is happening here. The Queen of Swords in the past. Now, a lawmaker was arrested for knocking on the doors. The usual visual of all these elderly white men signing away people's rights is there. We've got a woman on the case here. This is very much a legal battle that has more than one dimension. And at the heart of it is bringing the former guy to justice. Now we have the Four of Cups. There is great disappointment. I think out of all the issues since November the 3rd and January the 6th and those big issues in the US, these Georgia laws are really, really impacting on people emotionally because we know it's so unjust. But you see that cup there? You see that cup there? So this is going to be fought out, obviously, in the courts. And we've got the Page of Cups. Something is going to be revealed in the near future that a conversation... We're not done with justice yet, and this is impacting on this question. So we've got justice at the base of the pack. So this surprise is in relation to justice. Some kind of news is coming out. Your media better get off the tail of a president that's trying to do his best, and what is it, 100 million inoculated against the pandemic. Things being cleaned up, things being restored. Your media better start getting serious about pursuing these attacks on democracy, because right now we've got the Tower. We've got the Tower here, and it is trying to break down those structures. Now, again, it comes back to the Constitution, doesn't it? But we've got the Eight of Cups walking away from what no longer is serving, the political ways are no longer serving the country. There has to be change. And I come back to the filibuster as well, passing the voting rights legislation. So in the hopes and fears, I like to see this card, Three of Wands. I think that there is... we think that this dead Republican Party, that is, no longer the Republican Party, it is something else. The neo-Nazi party. It's not the majority. There are enough people who, despite this legislation in Georgia, who don't want to see this. And in fact, I know that Stacey Abrams, who will have to continue the fight as well, says that this is actually going to disadvantage the Republican votes, because if you put only one ballot box in a huge county, those Republicans won't be able to get, are less inclined to drive however many miles to lodge their vote. So this is also disadvantaging Republicans as well. And there are enough of the old Republicans or the Republicans, I don't know, the fragments of the Republican Party who don't want to see this happen. Now, we've got the Five of Swords, so I'm not surprised. It is a strategy, a very unfair strategy, a very unjust strategy is the outcome. So, challenged by death, endings. Okay, so transformation and new starts. So these laws will be challenged in the courts, and the strategy, this is what I'm seeing, these cards are telling me, this abuse of power, it will end, because the death card again is it keeps coming back to the same message around the Republicans. It's a death strategy. Whatever they're doing, however they're doing it, is a death strategy, which tells me that there will be enough Republicans who don't want to see this kind of, you assume that you've got this upper echelons of power that represents the whole party. It doesn't. They are the people like Marjorie Taylor Greene who have managed to rise, but they do not represent all of the Republicans. We have the Magician card here and Justice. So we've got change moving through here. Just because they have made those laws doesn't mean those laws will still stand at the next midterm or final or general election. Now, they have to try and remake these laws because that's the only way that someone like the former guy can win again. So, to me, the strategy is unwinnable. At some point, it's just going to end. All right, so will this end through the courts? Will this be? Will the courts uphold the fairness? Will they strike down? The courts strike down these voting laws. We've got the death. It will end them. Okay, so it will end them. That's pretty clear. There's a transformation needed. We've got total and utter downfall. The Republican Party is heading for, I don't know, a wipeout. I don't know how it's going to happen, or whether it's a new party springing up, or whether it's simply the majority of Republicans who aren't like this making themselves heard, or whether it's through the courts, most likely through the courts. Let's see, will these voter laws be in operation in the midterms? Will these voter laws be operational in the midterms? So we've got the Seven of Swords. So we've got deception, challenged by holding back information. So, something is not coming out to the surface. We've got the Three of Coins. There is dark money. Now, I know that the Koch brothers, is it Koch brothers, have one of them, because one of them passed away, is funding this kind of voter movement. But we've got this full illumination in the past. We've got new starts here, but this can also be, I'm seeing a lot of pentacles, a lot of people threatened by a progressive agenda. And we've got the Three of Swords. We've got heartbreak and loss and betrayal in the near future. In the here and now, we've got the voter. Okay, so there's a constitutional strength here. And we've got a complete and utter downfall of the system. This is the Pluto return. We've got the hope and fear, justice. So it's a hope, but it's also a fear. They fear the Constitution. And we've got the Five of Coins. No, it will not be. There's a loss here, so it will not be operational by the midterms. There's going to be quite significant progress, quick progress through the courts to get these overturned. And we've got Jupiter in Aquarius again, well placed. And that was my reading on the Libra full moon. There's work to be done on the US democracy, but it's a good time to do it because we're getting to see the issues. The King of Pentacles, very much the former guy here, and the Nine of Cups, the smug merchant. But guess what? This is the real picture. There are a lot of legal battles. And here's my King of Wands, leadership and the law and lawyers and lawmakers. Now, with the voting rights at your federal level, I got really good cards for that. And the readings that I've done has indicated that they're probably going to do away with the filibuster. Now, Senator Joe Manchin, forgive my pronunciation, but it's not the most important part of the reading. Senator Joe. He has to be on board for that majority in the Senate to work. Will Senator Joe Manchin, will he... oh no, too many cards. Will he support this voting rights legislation? And it's going to take a lot of work for him to do that. My feeling is that that for this one they're going to. Will he support removing the filibuster for this? In other, whether they have to, whether it goes back to them talking all night on their objection. Will 60 votes? It's doing away with the 60 votes. Will Senator Joe support removing the 60 vote threshold for the voting rights legislation? Judgment. This is a karmic card. It means letting go. It means the end of the old and the beginning of the new. Inevitable letting go. And we've got the 5 of Cups. So there is loss here, but there are 2 cups remaining. So there's judgment and there's also loss here as the 2 cards. But there's an inevitability here that he will do it. Now, I've got the Chariot. So I think that this is going to be a pretty high priority to get this through. It's like a puzzle, a legislative puzzle. I got that whenever I read on it, that there's certain pieces of the puzzle that must fall into place. There's a lot of work to do. Heartbreak, loss and betrayal is in the past. And we've got the Page of Coins. His vote is needed. That's potentially yes. He will support it, support this legislation in a particular form. And you know what it is? It's to defeat the party of the former guy. Right now we have him stepping back. He's, not... and there's a partisan game going on with him at the moment. He knows his power will come to an end if he doesn't be seen to do certain things, side with the opposition, for example. But we've got a lot of work. A lot of work is going to be done on that particular legislation, which will enable him to support it. Now we have the 7 of Cups. There's an illusion here. Things aren't what they seem. And we have the Knight of Cups, an offer being made. There will be a deal with the Ace of Cups. There will be a deal that will get this over the line, and he plays a part in it, and all is not what it seems. Okay, so we have the Knight of Wands and the 4 of Wands and the Fool card. Yeah. So he's going to be offered something, and he will support it. there's a lot of work to be done on the political strategies here to get that legislation through. But it's all happening. We just can't see. We just can't see it. So I'm feeling pretty good about ultimately getting that voting rights legislation at the federal level passed. At the state level, though, that you've got multitude of lawsuits. Again, each win, as you know, at the higher court, the Court of Appeals, and it goes on, renders things either constitutional or unconstitutional. So there's a whole lot of work that needs to be done. And the most important thing, I think, for everyone to know is that the Republican Party, as people knew it, is dead. Okay, I'm going to leave that there. I'll be back again for another reading soon. Thank you for all tuning in. Also want to say thank you for those that sent me donations after my full moon in Libra reading. I put a lot of effort. The readings that I've been doing in the last week, they are almost like channelings, and they do take it out of me. I can't reply to when those donations come through. The reply goes back to PayPal. But I want you all to know that when they come through, I really am grateful for them, and I read the messages, and I'm grateful for that too. So, gratitude, and I see every one of you, and I see the support you give me, and I just want to thank you for that. All right, have a good week, everyone.